Anyway, Fancy Pants, am I right? You know, that one popular Flash character who isn't this one, or these ones? Yeah, that guy, Fancy Pants. He honestly probably is one of the more popular and well-known Flash game characters out there. The least knowledgeable person about Flash game characters probably do recognize him from somewhere. I mean, just look at him, this gameplay, this look, just everything. It's iconic for the time and for today. What can I say? No, like really, what can I say? I haven't played a Fancy Pants game in like years and years at least. Well, like they say though, there's no time at the present. So I might as well look through the games that this fine wearer of trousers has on Steam to see what's up with him and if he truly has the most dapper trunks in gaming. Spoiler alert, he does! Go! Back in 2006, Brad Borne had an idea, and the first Fancy Pants game was Borne. There's definitely more to the development than that, but I only want to talk about the final product of Fancy Pants. Pretty cool, huh? Fun fact, you can also move around and stuff to get a feel for the game. And to me, these games controls are just kind of stiff, you know, stuff like jumping or rolling or like even just moving around in the air. It all just sort of feels iffy to get the hang of. Still, this is like a 2006 Flash game, so I'm not going to give it too much slack. And it's also not the biggest deal in the world because the game's pretty short, coming in around like 15 minutes. You're not going to be playing it that long. But despite that, this video is probably shorter than that, hopefully. And also, the game makes the most of what it can offer, with there being 3 levels and even a boss fight at the end. The Sleeping Penguin sort of came out of nowhere as a boss, but he probably had it coming for him. After the boss, though, the game just sort of loops over again, which leaves only one option for the player, and that is to play the other worlds in the game. Find the hidden trophies! These things aren't very hard to find in the levels, and many people probably would have found them anyway through their initial playthrough because of that. Still though, they add some nice gameplay to this game and what you play, and also references some other Flash projects that were around at the time of Fancy Pants 1, which I think is pretty cool as a little nod to these pieces, even if I myself don't really recognize them. And so, the only thing left to do in this game is to switch the color of your pants in the settings. And now you're off to play the other worlds in the game. World 2 came out in 2008, and those 2 years of development really show. I mean, it starts on a golfing scene. How cool is that? But yeah, you win the fancy golf and the mayor rewards you with an ice cream cone for your efforts before this purple bunny comes in and steals it. Thus, Fancy Pants has his plot for World 2 and must go for his frozen treat. Already, this story has me pretty hooked, but that's not the best to come, let me tell you. Right off the bat, this game had a massive facelift in its whole look and just like presentation from Fancy Pants 1, which can be especially seen on Fancy Pants himself. Also, I guess his name was Fancy Pants Man, according to the narrator. I think I'll just call him Fancy for now. Anyway, little discussion aside, this game consists of 6 levels, which is twice that of the original game, really putting the 2 in the World 2 into good use there, eh? There's also sub-levels in those levels where you unlock trophies of the artists who drew the said sub-levels, which could offset the level count, but let's just not count them there. I like my puns. Anyway though, the gameplay of this game. Everything just feels smoother to control than the first, which may seem like a little obvious, but playing them back to back really makes the difference clear as day. Wall jumps are easier to perform, sliding has never felt better, because in fact, it was added in this one. All these changes very clearly improve the platforming aspect of this game, which is very important seeing as it is a platforming series. That's all well and good though, but what's this little shell doing here? Oh, that's cool. Kicking it into these golf holes unlock new pants colors. Way more engaging than just being a simple change in the settings. All I had to do for it was no. There we go. Yeah, these fancy golf sections just aren't the most fun for me to do, I'm not gonna lie. The physics of the shells are pretty finicky to get the hang of most of the time, and even when you do get a good like power shot into it, the level design just kind of screws you over a lot from getting the shell into the golf hole. Not to say a level design is like poorly designed or anything, but it is fun to run around and like jump and stuff to collect squiggles, but adding golf in there, nah, I don't think so. It definitely is still doable to do these golf courses if you put enough attempts and time into it, but it's just sort of a drag for me to play, I'm sorry. I guess it really does help to add some replayability to this game though, I will say that. Through all that turmoil though, Fancy Pants finally defeats the big mean evil Reddit rabbit in 3 hits, and takes back what's rightfully his. Cool game. Like I said, better than the first in a lot of aspects, but that fancy golf stuff sort of irks me. And there are a decent amount of bugs in it, though I sort of like bugs. Ants are kind of cool. Enough about that though, because it's time for World 3. This game does have a story, just like the second world, and this time around it's actually a pretty cohesive one, starting in Fancy's bedroom. as all good stories do. The mayor wakes him up, jabbers on about the king's bathtub and pirates or whatever, and thus Fancy is off to save the day once again. However, when he arrives to take back the tub from those smelly pirates, he finds his little sister actually becomes the new pirate king after a crazy series of events. So now, Fancy's new objective is to return his sister back home from being the pirate king, all in one piece. Why are you looking at me like that? Oh, I haven't talked about the actual gameplay yet. Okay, yeah, that's why. Up to this point in the story, the game's actually established itself really well. It's not just a good platformer, but a great addition to the Fancy Pants saga in general. To start where I usually do, the levels have seen another change in art style. This time around, everything just feeling much like belongs together, much more better. It's not really a complicated style or anything, it's just nice, simple, and consistent at every level of the game. You know what else I can describe that way? The game controls, of course. In my opinion, this game probably houses the best controls that fans have seen in the series up to this point. Everything just flows very smooth with each other in the way that you move. My favorite cases being that you can slide on the floor after landing from a jump. This move reminds me a lot of something like the drop dash from Sonic Mania. Something that Fancy Pants has above Sonic though is that he has this pretty cool move where he can climb up a wall a bit, and he can even grab on a ledge and climb on top of like solid ground. I love doing that. That's my favorite moves in this game. It really just elevates the platformer to a different level, I'm telling you. Not just that though, it could also help in finding some mysterious little collectibles of some sort. Maybe of some other fellow Flash characters or project. Oh wait, those aren't in this game? Huh. Well, no worries, there still are some other cool things to do and find these levels as you run through them. For example, when you jump on these springs with numbers on them, they start a little like time trial thing with collecting these yellow squiggles. Collect them all fast enough and you beat the spring, easy as that. It's a fun little thing to run through in these levels. These layouts of the yellow squiggles are a little tricky, but pretty easy to do once you get the hang of it. It's pretty cool to do them fast. Another sort of collectible thing in this game are these people that give you new pants colors in exchange for you doing them a bit of a favor. And these favors are actually pretty varied in what you need to do. There are of course the race type of things where you just run through a course as fast as you can, but there's also a point scoring mini game, balloon popping, and fancy golf. Hey, this time around it's not that bad though, because this new tool you acquired called the pencil, which lets you have way more control over the shell and where it goes. You actually unlock this thing later in the game, but if you've been seeing it using the footage on screen, that's what someone gets for not recording their first playthrough of the game. Anyway, to unlock this pencil, you need to keep chasing your sister until you reach this pirate ship, in which you need to go under and retrieve this pencil weapon. Why? That's why. Anyway, this is like the final section of the game now, so let's crank it out quick. You enter the ship and you need to find and unlock 3 keys to get into your sister's lair. If you see that I have all the keys already unlocked, no you don't, stop looking there. If you didn't listen to me though, you also see there's another thing to unlock, that being a disco ball to party it up. Anyway, after fooling around, Fancy finally faces his sister, in which she just sends him to the ditch. Great. But look, there's that rainbow bearded pirate from earlier, and he wants to team up with you and stop your sister from being ruler of the pirates. How great. Wait a minute! Remember the start when I said I hadn't played a Fancy Pants game in years? This is actually that exact game. I only just remembered after seeing this guy drink apple cider. Huh. I don't have much more added on to that. I think that was pretty neat. Anyway, we're almost finished here, I promise. This guy wants his beard to not be rainbow, so his crew takes him more seriously to make him king again. So you get him some beard dye from this ancient beard temple thing, and you come back to the ship to find it's had a ninja invasion. This is actually what gets your sister to want to step down from her role as pirate king. But the rainbow bearded turned brown bearded pirate still wants to tussle. Okay, and with that ends what is probably my favorite game in the series, even after playing all of them. It's just really solid to play, and it's just a fun time finding all the little collectibles and stuff in it. It's sort of a shame that you can't really start the story over, at least from what I'm saying, because that would have helped a lot in getting footage for this video, but tomato, I'm alright. However, the last game in the series actually isn't even found in this pack of classic games, as the most recent entry of the Fancy Pants series actually came out in 2017. Most of you guys probably weren't even alive when this came out. That's right, we're getting souped up with Super Fancy Pants Adventure! Or just World 4 2, that works fine. Was the break in the 6-year gap between Fancy Pants World 3 and, of course, World 4, making it the longest gap in development for Fancy Pants if we don't count the classic pack. And what came of it? Oh boy, what came of it. First things first though, this game of course begins in the bedroom of Fancy Pants, just like the last game did, until he stumbles out of his bed to find apparently a rainstorm had finally stopped in his hometown of Squiggleville. Then he steps out of his house to look at the damage the storm caused, and that's when his sister runs out to catch her little cat. This is where Fancy goes underground and the player gets a true taste of the game for the first time. More or less, the game's controls are pretty much the same as in World 3, that being pretty good, maybe even slightly smoother. Except now you can't do that climbing onto ledges thing I like to do in 3, so... Also, another difference from World 3 is the art direction of the environments, where they have like this shading done to them or something like that. I can't really decide if I like the look of it or not, but World 3 is just better to me when it came to fitting the overall feel what Fancy Pants is to me. No worries though, because we get to see some new backdrops from going through this magic door. So what I think that these rooms are is that they're meant to replicate the style of the first Fancy Pants game, like World 1, where there being these big like paintbrush strokes and the simple line art and there's this color palette and all that. Oh yeah, these rooms also are how you unlock pants colors, even hats for Fancy Pants to wear. These hats and pants colors are honestly big highlights of the game for me. There's just so many of them to mix and match and make cool clothing combos. It also helps that the game lets pants be colored as a gradient or patterns, adding even more variety to those combos. The challenge of these rooms are also pretty fair, though being hit and getting sent to the start can be pretty irritating sometimes. Anyway though, back in the real world, Fancy catches up with his sister to find her cat ripping into the very fabric of reality, and so you help it by ripping the hole even larger. This is where Fancy upgrades his puny pencil from the last game to a powerful pickle pen. Don't ask why I said pickle, alliteration's hard, okay? Anyway though, the pen is still a very good addition to your arsenal, as it still works as the same as the pencil from earlier in the game, while having the ability to also glide on these purple paper things. It also gains more abilities as you play through the game, making for some of the best combat in any Fancy Pants game by far. How do you feel this pen though, you may wonder? Ink actually plays a pretty big role in the story, with it being the main concept behind all the bosses. The story from now on also sees Fancy going up to the Ink volcano to stop all this madness. He of course has to go help the pirates to be able to use their flying ship, because how else could he get up to a volcano? This is also the point in the game where you are now able to trade squiggles you collect for extra abilities or stat boosts. Like the pen, I really like how much this adds to the game, and the newfound value it gives squiggles apart from just giving you a 1-up every 100 collected. It's really cool. Hey, what's this? World 1 Remix. Multiplayer? Huh? This addition to the game just really baffles me in just every way of its existence. Just like, what? I'm not saying it's a poor addition to the game for the most part, but it's just that there's no attention put to it. It's just shoved into this random room of this giant king-sized tub, and it seems like it had a lot of work put into it. I mean, it has completely unique hats in it, remixed world wells like the name suggests, and even a new final boss? All this, there's not even like an achievement for playing it or anything, it's just nothing. Okay, I forgot to mention this game has achievements, but they're pretty easy. Just finish every challenge door in an area and then max all your ice cream purchases. There's some side stuff there too, but that's the general gist of it. In the game, there's also a bunch of other references to the original games that aren't this World 1 remix, like how the man brings up previous fights that Fancy Pants has had in his games, or how the Pirate King's beard is fading from the dyed color he got from World 3. I think it's a cool touch especially. The other pirates also reuse their dances from the disco room in World 3, and I like the way they look, they're funny. Anyway, Fancy helps him out, and after a quick tentacle entanglement, he gets sent up to the volcano to finally defeat this Ink invasion. Not a lot I can add for this volcano section of the game, but these little rips to the fabric of space-time add a lot to making this truly seem like you're getting closer to your end goal, especially as things start to deteriorate more and more into that lined paper texture. Finally though, you reach the top, and Fancy gets pushed over by something very mysterious, and that's when he falls into the real world and has to fight an edgy, inky version of himself. So then, Fancy fights this dark and twisted version of himself, and with one final blow, he finally defeats him. But then, with one final hurrah, one final breath of action, this evil inked up Fancy Pants, Inky Pants, if you will, knocks Fancy off the table, and his only option of escape is through this paper portal, and then, that's it? To be continued? Man, just when the game seemed to be heating up. Well, like, all in all, the game wasn't so bad. There's definitely a lot more to do in after beating it, like I mentioned with the World 1 remix and achievements and all that. In fact, to me, this game could sort of feel like a little overbearing how much stuff is in it. The challenges in specific really add a lot to the content in this game. Like, there's one in every room. It sort of wears me down a bit after just having to stop my tracks every so often to just do a quick little challenge, no matter how fast I do it. And that World 1 remix, it's kind of just an entire Fancy Pants game in and of itself. It's such a brain-twisting addition to me still. Saying all that, I still think Super Fancy Pants World just brings a lot to the Fancy Pants series and definitely has its place in it. I'm sure I'll be saying the same thing when the 5th Fancy Pants game comes out eventually. While I do still consider the third world as my personal favorite just because how tight of an experience it is, everything just feels so cohesive and all that, the rest of the games still have their positives. But the music in these games are all pretty good. They're nice to listen to while running through these levels. And also the little details of Fancy himself is also something I like a lot. He's really an expressive guy. It makes him feel very cool to play as. The animation in all the games too is also pretty interesting to me. Not in a bad way, it's just that like everything just sort of looks alive in a way, like kind of organic, which might be kind of weird, but like if you look at it for too long, I think you'll see what I mean. I don't know, but it gives it this very unique look, definitely. I also find the writing of the game to be pretty funny sometimes. Not in the same sort of funny I find Piku Niku or anything like that, but it's still nice it's there. I like it. And again, I find the trophies for other Flash projects to be pretty cool, even if they weren't kept up with the more recent games. So all in all, I think I definitely would say Fancy Pants has the fanciest pants in gaming. Might not come to a big surprise to all of you though, because I spoiled at the beginning. Why would I do that?